Tonight is Miss Sandra Delgado and Miss Leilani Leguid. They are both outreach coordinators for Northern Virginia Community College. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Okay, so tonight, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. See if we can real quick. Can everybody see it? Good to go. Okay, fantastic. So thank you, Ms. Boyd, for that introduction. Once again, my name is Sandra Delgado. I'm an outreach and recruitment coordinator for Northern Virginia Community College. And tonight I have Ms. Leilani Liggett with me. She's going to be helping me with the chat. And possibly at the end, she will help me with a few questions that I might not know. So please bear with me. I'm going to go ahead and provide you with some information about NOVA. I'm going to be a bit brief on some of the slides because I want most of you to have an opportunity at the end to ask the questions and be able to help you, okay? Okay, so a little bit about NOVA. So NOVA is one of the largest community colleges in the United States. We are comprised of more than 70,000 students and 3,400 faculty members and staff. So as you can see, we are huge. We're one of the most internationally diverse colleges in the United States. So basically, we have students from all around the world. You will see students that will look like you and students that do not look like you, giving you an opportunity to learn more about cultures as well. We also have 6 campuses across the region, and I have the next slide that it will tell you exactly where are we located. And we offer more than 110 associate's degrees and certificate programs. Okay, so our 6 convenient campuses locations, as you can see, we have a campus at Manassas. We have another one at the Alexandria area. We have one in Woodbridge. We also have another one at the Loudoun area. And we have another one that is at Springfield. And this is the one that you can see where it says MEC, the MEC. So this is a campus that you will go to take programs such as healthcare, like nursing. We have dental hygiene and all those programs that have to do with, again, healthcare. If you want more information, I'm more than happy to answer most of those questions at the end, because I know there's going to be a lot of questions about that. We also have NOVA Online. So if you prefer to stay home since the pandemic, that has been the case. And we have had a lot of students that actually prefer to do it online. We also have NOVA Online. Okay, so who's NOVA? So as you can see on the chart, we are showing that we have students from all around the world. Usually the majority of NOVA students are going to be in the white population with a 34%. And next we have the Hispanic and Latino with a 23.5%, right? Our 20% of students are actually first generation students, meaning they're the first ones to come to college. We also have a 72% of students that are enrolled part-time, because you do not have to come to NOVA and do a full-time. You can be a part-time student, because we have to understand that some of us, we have a job and we need to go to school at least part-time. That doesn't mean that it's going to take you an eternity. We have options, okay? We have 4,000 plus students that use military benefits, and we have over 50,000 students, again, that represent our diverse region. What are the benefits of attending NOVA? So the first one, as you can see, oh, I'm so sorry. I apologize for that. It will be proximity to home. So we have quite a few campuses close to your home. Some of them might be 20 minutes. Some of them can even be across the street. We have flexible admissions requirements, meaning we do not require an essay. It's a guaranteed admissions. As soon as you complete your application, you automatically admit it into NOVA. We do not require a GPA. Now, that doesn't mean that we are going to fail. For example, if you're in high school, you're not going to worry about your GPA. Yes, you have to worry, because if you do not worry about your GPA and you fail, you will be taking remediation courses at NOVA. So that is something that everyone has to think about. Affordability. Very popular. We are fourth of the cost of a 4-year institution, and I have another slide that I will show you that different amounts that you have to pay between a 4-year institution and us, right? We have scholarships available for NOVA students. We have smaller classroom sizes. We usually try to cap our classrooms at from 25 to 40 students max in comparison to a 4-year institution. As some of you might already know, when you go to a 4-year institution, sometimes you will go into a classroom and you will have huge auditoriums with 100 to 200 students. So NOVA gives you that opportunity of having those smaller classrooms so you can have a better access to your peers, to your professor, and have a better learning opportunity. We have various course offerings. We have online, virtual, hybrid, weekends, even though it doesn't seem too appealing, and we also have evening classes, okay? We have greater academic success and higher completion rates for bachelor's degrees, meaning that we have had feedback of students that come to NOVA for 2 years, then transfer to a 4-year institution to finish the other 2 years that they have left. Because remember, you will be doing 2 years at NOVA, and then you transfer to a 4-year to finish those other 2. And by the way NOVA helped those students, it gave them a better chance to finish their bachelor's degree. They were prepared when they moved on to that 4-year institution. Also, we have transfer opportunities, articulation agreements, GAA in advance, and we will talk about that shortly. There we go. So, special programs offered at NOVA. So I'm pretty sure some of you have already heard about dual enrollment. So pretty much dual enrollment allows high school juniors and seniors to earn high school and college credit simultaneously. So while you attend high school, guess what? You can take a college class and it will count towards that degree when you get to NOVA, of course, because we want you guys to come to NOVA. It saves time and it will save you money when completing your bachelor's degree because you have those credits and you already completed them during high school. And even better, if you take these classes during your high school years, guess what? You will not be paying anything because it's free as charge as long as you take these classes while you're in high school. In case you want to take a class that the high school does not offer it, you can take the class as well through NOVA, but in that case, you will have to pay for the class, okay? We also have early online college. So this is for high school seniors and juniors. This is, again, tuition-free college courses in an online asynchronous format, meaning that the material will be in the system and it will be up to you to learn that material with deadlines. So you got to be careful because you got to be very disciplined in order to be able to do this format. Students are responsible for textbooks and other course materials purchases. This may take, the students may take up to 2 courses max per semester, okay? We also have a program called Advance. So this is a strong partnership that we have with George Mason. It will give students a targeted personalized support to complete their bachelor's degree, right? You have to apply to this program if you're interested and you're planning on going to George Mason before you complete 30 credits at NOVA. If you have already completed 30 credits, unfortunately, you won't be available. So my recommendation is that you go speak to an advanced coach in order to learn more about this program, okay? And the perks and the good thing about this is during those 2 years that you're here at NOVA, you will get a specialized advanced coach that is going to help you out through those entire years at your NOVA time to make a smooth transition into George Mason, okay? We also have guaranteed admissions. There's pretty much the same thing as advanced. is Nova graduates can gain guaranteed admissions to more than 40 area colleges and universities when you meet the transfer agreement requirements between Nova and that institution. If you guys decide that you want to do this type of program with the guaranteed admissions, you have to keep in mind that every single university will require from you different things, but especially your GPA. Depending on the college you're going to, they're going to require for you to maintain that GPA and follow their rules in order to make a smooth transition into that school of your choosing, okay? Okay, very popular slide. So tuition cost per semester. So far, 2023, 2024, it might change, but it's usually not that much. It's just a couple of cents when it changed. As you can see, tuition, again, tuition only, no books, no boarding, right? For George Mason University, as you can see, per semester is $6,900. And as you go down to UVA, it goes up, right? But if you look down, you will see that Nova, per semester, no books, no boarding, you will be paying $2,281 per semester for full time. If you see on the top, it says $190.11 per credit. Again, this is per credit, not per class. For example, if you want to take an English class, that class most likely will have 3 credits, meaning you will be paying around how much? $600 for that class. But if, for example, you are going to be taking a class that only has 1 credit, you will be paying $190 per credit, okay? So keep that in mind. If you decide to come to Nova for 2 years and then you transfer 2 years, to a 4-year institution, you will be saving $16,000. And that's a lot of money, something that you guys have to think about, okay? Okay, so we have over 110 programs of study. We have transferable degrees and career and technical programs. So for the transferable degrees, around 24, these are designed, again, for transferring, okay? It's a 2-year program that you will be in Nova for 2 years, and then you transfer to the institution of your choosing. It is recommended that you speak to your advisor if this is your plan, because we got to make sure that those credits that you are taking at Nova will transfer to that 4-year institution, okay? We have Associate of Arts degree, we have Associate of Science degree, and we have an Associates of Fine Arts, meaning we have business, criminology, IT, education, engineering, psychology, visual arts, and more. Something else that I wanted to emphasize on, some of these degrees are only offered at certain campuses. For example, we were talking about the medical education campus located at Springfield. So Springfield, again, is specialized in the healthcare programs, meaning they will be offering nursing and dental hygiene, right? You cannot take those degrees at any other campus because they are specific to the medical campus. Same thing happens, for example, on this side. When we go to the career and technical programs, those are around 95. They are designed for you to go straight to the workforce, not designed to transfer. You will be here in Nova for 2 years, and then you go straight into the workforce. Associate of Applied Arts degree, Associate of Applied Science degree. We have certificates which are shorter, and career certificate studies. So we have auto tech, cybersecurity, dental hygiene, and so on. So as you can see, what I was about to say, auto tech is, you will be taking auto tech at the Manassas campus, okay? So certain programs are specific to a campus. Okay, just for everyone to see, just a little bit of input on this. We have top 5 transfer institution. So for the top 5 transfer institution, to start with, we have public, of course, George Mason, as you can see, is the first one, and so on. And then we have, for a top 5 transfer institution, private, the first one, very popular, it will be Liberty U. And 90% of the students always decide to go to either to a public or private institution. But just to give you an idea, this is how it looks like when students decide to transfer. Okay, so Virginia G3 program makes the impossible possible. So this is pretty much get a skill, get a job, get ahead, right? So this is a state aid for Virginia Community College students. Eligible students are automatically considered for a G3 award if they complete their financial aid process and enrolled at least half-time in one of NOVA's 70 G3 programs. Something that I want to emphasize is, even though some students might apply for, if you have heard it before, and I will talk a little bit more about it, for VASA, this is another state aid, because they don't qualify for financial aid, they will also be eligible to apply for the G3 program, which is also a state aid. Usually, you cannot combine 2 state aids, but in this case, since you're a VASA student, you will be able to apply for the G3 program as well, okay? And I know I'm going to have a lot of questions about that. We will answer them, don't worry. Okay, so also, top G3 programs in 2021 and 2022 were cybersecurity, information system technology, early childhood development, information technology and cloud computing, nursing, which is very popular, and automotive technology. Okay, so some of the services that we offer to students, like a 4-year institution, we also love to help our students and support them. So we do have academic advising. You can speak to your advisor either virtually or in person. I always recommend my students to speak to their advisor every semester, especially if you are transferring, because once again, and I am sorry that I repeat myself, but I want you guys to be successful. Please make sure that the classes that you are taking will transfer to that 4-year institution of your choosing. We also have accommodations and accessibility services. If your student has a 504, I believe it's called, in the high schools, you will be able to transfer that, not transfer, but when you do the application online, you should be able to download that document and then send it over with your application. And then an accommodations and accessibility person will reach out to you to do a meeting, have a sit down with possibly parents and students to see how can NOVA accommodate you. And I know there's quite a few questions about that. We will be more than happy to answer those questions at the end. It's a very simple process. You will just do the application online in order to speak with that accommodations advisor. You will not be able to reach an accommodations advisor if you do not fill out the application, because they need to know how can they help you, okay? They need to verify your documentation and go from there. So we also have career services for those of you that want a little bit more input in careers. We have wellness and mental health. We have financial aid and financial stability services. We have military and veteran services for those of you that want to use your military services. We have someone that there to help you at each campus. We have international student services. We have tutoring services, very good service. I always tell my students, take advantage of that. NOVA libraries and so on. Okay. So, student life at NOVA. We want every single one of our students to get involved in the community college. We want you guys to learn what is college about. So we have programs to support our students' engagement, leadership, mentoring, involvement, teamwork, and lifelong learning. This is where you will meet your friends. So, right? It's time to go to clubs, organizations. If you go to Nova and you do not see a club that you're interested in, for example, anime, guess what? We can create that club for you. All you have to do is get the people, get some sponsorship, and we will make it happen. We have leadership seminars and conferences, awareness events, social events, study abroad, honors program, Nova Core interns. So pretty much you guys can come work with us. And we have Nova Athletics and Sports. Now, ways to pay for college. So financial aid, that will be FAFSA, free application for student aid. This will be, you can qualify for grants. This is free money. Or you can qualify for loans. This is money that you must pay back. So this is something that you have to be aware of. This will be dependent on family income and also on how many members do you have in your family. So you got to keep all that in mind. We also have the work study. Again, these are jobs on campus. And the eligibility is determined by financial aid. So we encourage you to apply for financial aid. Now, let's say you were not able to get the FAFSA, probably because you are undocumented or have some other type of visa that prevents you from getting that financial aid support. Guess what? We have what is called Virginia application for state aid. Again, for those ineligible to apply for financial aid, meaning undocumented, DACA, TPS, and so on. If you guys want more information about this at the end, please let me know so I can contact you with the right person, okay? Scholarships, there is money out there and you need to apply. We have a lot of money at the end of the year that is left because students do not know that is there. So it's good for you to always browse and verify the scholarships that we have to offer in order to take advantage of it. You will start your search with your high school careers representative. Most deadlines fall between January and April, and it's located in the Nova Scholarship database. And last but not least, and least favorite, out of pocket, okay? So if you do not qualify for any of those, you will need to pay out of pocket. Your parents can use a 529 plan college saving if you have one. You can pay the entire balance at once, or most popular, you can make a payment plan. So the more money, the sooner you do it, the less money you will have to give up front. So keep that in mind, okay? Nova scholarships, there are 3 application periods. So it's usually between January and February, May and June, August and September, okay? The scholarships range from $500 to $6,500. And as you can remember, tuition for Nova is $2,800 and something, right? So as you can see, some of these scholarships might be able to pay for your tuition, books, and so on. So it's good for you to verify that, okay? You must submit one application or essay if it's required for multiple scholarship. And keep in mind that you must be a Nova student in order to apply for these scholarships. Okay, a little bit more about what we were talking about. VASA, financial aid resources for non-citizen. So VASA is Virginia Alternative State Aid Application. This is financial aid application for students, again, who do not qualify for FAFSA, need to have a 2022 federal and Virginia income tax return. Male students 18 from 25 must be registered in the selected services, okay? So this is one state aid. And then we have the Dream.US. This will be a scholarship. It's specifically available for Dreamers, DACA students, TPS, right? Must be a DACA student, TPS, or meet the following immigration requirements. You must have come to the U.S. before the age of 16, came to the U.S. before November 1st, and I apologize, it's not 2017, it's 2018, and graduated or will graduate with a GPA of 2.5 or better. Oh, and last but not least, you must be enrolled full-time. Okay? If you want more information, please at the end, let me know. Okay, so if you decide to come with us, to come to our college, keep in mind that NOVA's application is free and always open, okay? Upcoming terms are added as they approach, and you are more than welcome to apply. Now, after everything that we have discussed, so pretty much we are going to, let's see, here we go. So getting started, checklist. So just a recap. First thing that you are going to do, you are going to complete your NOVA online application at the website provided, nbcc.edu. Remember, it's free. You will have to save your student ID at the end of the application because this will be used constantly for your login. And even when you come to speak to an advisor or any of us, we will require that ID. Then you will complete your advising survey for direct enrollment to determine your English and math placement. Well, good thing is we do not do any more placement testing. It's pretty much a survey. The survey usually takes you 1 to 2 minutes to complete. You get your results and you're ready and set to go to speak to your advisor about the classes that you need to take. You will secure your financial source to pay tuition. Again, you will, if you need to complete your FAFSA or BASA, you will log into your MyNova to resolve the holds and to-do list items. Keep in mind that if you have any types of hold on your account or your to-do list items, you will not be able to register for classes. Some of these holds might be that you're under 18 and you need your parents' permission, or it might be that they need to verify your visa status. And again, you do not have to worry if you do not have a visa or if you're undocumented. Everybody's welcome at NOVA. All we need to do is verify that you have a transcript from high school and all the documentation in order to bypass that, okay? You will apply for in-state tuition if applicable. Then you will sign up for the online orientation. Unfortunately, we're not doing in-person orientations as of yet. That is something that we're working on. But for now, we're going to do the online orientation called New to Know. Then you will register or enroll in classes. April 8th, it's already open. It's the registration for all students. And last but not least, pay for tuition, books, and parking permit if applicable. If you decide to take classes after 3:45, parking is for free, okay? Okay, so and that's pretty much it. That will be our information. As you can see, I am located, well, you can't see because it doesn't say it there, but I am located at the Woodbridge campus, and Miss Leilani Liggett is located at the Manassas campus. Thank you so much. If anybody has any other questions.
Yes, I do. My name is Marina.
Okay. Hi, Marina.
Hi. Yeah, my daughter, just a quick question. My daughter is planning to attend NOVA to do a health and science. Well, she will ultimately have a degree in after the third and fourth year. However, she's very interested in the diagnostic, the ultrasound sonography program.
Mm-hmm.
I did hear you say like it's considered like a study to work program as such. Mm-hmm. However, even though she's highly interested in that, and I know it's very hard to get into, she still wants to complete a degree. So if she were to, let's say, be lucky enough to get into that program, and then say, okay, I still want to go to George Mason to complete my health and science. Is that all doable? I did pop into you guys in Manassas and they told me that there is more credits in that associate program than a regular associate. So I was wondering how that works in transferring or having the right classes. If she's so focused on doing classes associated with that and she doesn't get in, then what happens, there?
So pretty much the healthcare programs that we have, even though they're not designed to transfer, most of those credits will transfer at least to George Mason. George Mason, we have a very strong partnership with them. For example, I am 100% sure, that's the degree that I'm sure of. And Leilani, if you're there, let me know and correct me. For example, the nursing program has a pathway into George Mason because we do have an agreement with George Mason. But most of the healthcare programs, even though, again, they're not designed to transfer, they're only designed to go to straight into the workforce, the majority of those of those classes will transfer into at least George Mason. But
Right.
my recommendation will be, were you able to speak to an advisor?
I did speak to, I went about the financial aid, the FAFSA, and then I popped into the little office and there
Okay.
was a nice young guy there, but I believe he was only working there 4 months. So
Oh.
I just, he sounded great, but I just wanted to make sure that his information was correct. He wasn't quite sure about exactly what classes or if extra classes would have to be done or, you know, if there were 1 or 2 that didn't transfer.
Yeah, if there were a few of them that don't transfer,
And
there's,
I can add to that, Sandy.
yeah,
So
go ahead.
for the diagnostic medical sonography, prior to getting admitted to the program itself, the student would have to go under health sciences. So because the program has specific prerequisite prior to getting into the program, if the student will not get into the program and would like to switch and goal now and would plan to transfer to a four-year institution, the student will then switch degree to Associate of Science. So what the student will need to do is pick up the classes that are not have not been taken for diagnostic medical sonography, and some of those are because of the science degree. For example, science degree requires about 60 to 65 credits, and they have very specific in terms of core classes. So a student might have to take, like, for example, Introduction to Digital and Information Literacy and Computer. That's
Yes.
one of the class that the student might not have to take if their initial goal was to take the health professions or diagnostic medical sonography.
Yes.
So health sciences, the sciences, for example, this time requires calculus. So depending on the requirement for diagnostic medical sonography, if that's not completed, the student will then need to pick up those classes, additional classes. But it doesn't mean that those classes that she's taken, like Sandy was saying, through health professions will not work towards transferring to Mason. It's just that those credits would transfer in a different way, maybe an elective. But in terms of if the student plans to transfer under advanced program or guaranteed admissions, they do have a very specific list of classes for associative science and science. So it's a little bit different, but most of there are just a few classes between diagnostic medical sonography for the prerequisite, because I think we're talking about the first semester and a half there. For this, so there's not a lot of differences. So it's still okay to switch goals and then pick up the classes that the student might have to take additional, which most likely is the math and the computer class in this case.
Right. I'm sorry to hog everybody's time, but one, because I've been trying to get these questions answered. So so basically what she did, or what we looked at, we looked at she's registered for health and sciences. We looked for the first semester what she could choose from, and then we looked at all the classes that are required to do ultrasound technology. And then if there were any overlapping, we decided to choose those first to get them done. And I didn't see, I'm not sure I saw the calculus, but there was a AP math, which she's done in high school. So I believe, so I'm not sure that, well, I'll have to relook at it again. So basically, anyhow, it's correct what she's doing in terms of she's picked the most likely classes that they need if she gets into ultrasound.
Yes, so that's really a good strategy because you're looking at the overlapping classes. But this is an individualized planning. I would suggest that the student would meet with an advisor. So
Great.
basically as a backup to ensure that the student would still have the right classes when transferring to Mason. If you can put in your email, I'm going to give you the program of study
Oh, that's perfect.
catalog for both programs. That way, you also have that as a resource. If you can drop your email or the student's email in the chat, would love to provide you with more resources about those two programs.
Thank you. And the last question to do with that was, do you have the name of a particular advisor that if she's in the health and science, to actually contact them as well beforehand?
So there was a job announcement for the health professions, specifically advisors for health professions. I don't think that it's been awarded yet. So any
Okay.
advisors can actually assist the student. There is what they're hoping for is to get a health profession specifically for those in the health professions programs. But at the moment, any of the advisors should be able to assist.
Wonderful. Thank you so much indeed. And when do you think the financial award letters will be sent out? Because I'm traveling abroad. Do you have any idea to see when they will be on their way?
So I talked to the financial aid staff yesterday because we have the same questions. They told us a timeline of 3 weeks, but I would probably give myself longer than that, simply because at the moment they're having issues with financial aid. But since yesterday, they're saying that it will be awarded in the next few weeks, in about 3 weeks timeline.
Wonderful. Thank you so much to both of you. I'm sending my information now. Thank you, by text. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We do have a question in the chat. Someone's asking, when do students register for classes in the fall? And then also, starting in the fall, when should they talk to an advisor to pick classes?
So registration already began, as Sandy was saying, on April the 8th. Tuition is due on August 1st, and I want everyone to know that at NOVA, if your tuition is not paid on that specific date, your classes will be dropped for non-payment. So other students who are trying to get into those classes will have the opportunity to sign up for those classes. So the first question, when does the student need to meet with an advisor? Normally, there are task lists about 6 things that Sandy mentioned. First, the application needed to be submitted first. You need to have a student ID number, and you need to have your username in order for you to have an active application in the system. The second thing is you need to check whether you have any holds in your accounts. So any holds that will prevent you from registering for classes, you need to take care of those prior to you meeting with your advisor. So that would be like parent signature, is immigration status information, or maybe you have an additional hold for legal guardianship information. So take care of those through enrollment services. The third thing that you need to do is complete that advising survey. It is for your placement in college level English and math or developmental courses based on your GPA. So you need to fill that out. So those things you really need to do prior to your meeting with your advisor. So when it's time for you to meet with your advisor, then you are actually ready for that academic advising. You're not doing the steps or the tasks that you were supposed to do prior to your meeting with your advisor. So if you need this information, go ahead and drop your email, and I'm going to give you a checklist. Sandy and I can give that to you ahead of time.
Both of you, if you want to also send me the checklist, I typically send the video recording as well as your PowerPoint presentation, but I can also attach the link or the list, the checklist for families to have.
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Another question did come in the chat. For prerequisites for the nursing or other medical degrees, can prerequisites like anatomy be taken at the Woodbridge campus, or are those only available at Springfield?
Yes, these prereqs can be taken at the Woodbridge campus.
Did we get the email to the one person who said
yes, there's a couple of emails in the chat. Someone was specifically asking for the nursing program catalog, and I know Sandy, you put just the catalog in general in the chat.
Yeah, if you click on that, it automatically gives you all the list of the programs that we offer, and there's nursing. They can just go ahead and click on that. That way they can compare.
Leilani, it's Ms. Hughes, if you look at that.
Okay, the check. You know what? I'm gonna give to you, Miss Boyd, about the checklist anyway, so it will be available for everyone.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Are
Any
there
other
any other
questions?
questions? You're more than welcome to type them in the chat, or you can come off mute to ask your question.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
For the nursing program and other medical programs, are there enough prerequisites to keep a student busy their first couple semesters? Like, can you be full-time and do the prerequisites?
Yeah, there is enough prerequisite classes, and even if in fact, some of the students, it will take them more than 2 semesters to take those prerequisite classes, because even if the student have not been accepted to the program yet, there are some classes that they can actually take that is part of the program, so that would lighten their load once they get accepted to the program. So there's enough courses they can take. So I can actually, if you want specific, I can get you.
You're muted.
Okay, I think I'm back. Okay. So for example, in the nursing program, the student can take the math course, psychology, anatomy and physiology 1 and 2, English, SDV 101. So those are like prerequisite, but once they get into the program, they those classes that they can get in is the NSG classes. But in the second semester, you notice that there's also a microbiology. So even if they don't get into the program yet, those microbiology class, for example, for the lecture and the lab, they can take that prior to them getting into the program. The CSC, which is the intercultural communication, that's like set up in a third semester in nursing. But if they have time, if they're waiting to get accepted, they can take that prior to them getting into the program. So those are like an example of the classes that they can take prior to them getting admitted, but it's not necessarily prerequisite or required prior to them applying to the program.
It's pretty much any class that is specific to the program, you cannot take until you're accepted into the program. Anything else, you can play with it.
That's a good way of putting it. Yes.
There's a question in the chat. Is there a GPA requirement for the nursing program?
I would say, well, but for what I remember, NOVA does not require a GPA, but when you're taking your prereqs, you have to keep in mind that you cannot score C or below. And at times it could be B or above. It all depends on the prereq. It doesn't quite need or you don't quite need a GPA, but you have to at least have a good score in your grades, like C or above, B or above. And yes, thank you, Leilani. Like 2.5. It doesn't have to be that you need. Let me put it this way. When you start NOVA, you're not required a GPA. It's pretty much a fresh start. And if you score C or above or B or above on those classes that you are required to take, your GPA should not go below 2.5. Let's put it that way.
That's correct. And I want to add into it because the nursing is multi-admissions process. So when you get into NOVA, you don't have a GPA requirement, but if you're trying to get into these competitive programs, they're going to select those students who have, you know, have met the requirements, so are able to comply the general admissions requirement for allied health. And one of those, as Sandy mentioned, is 2.5 cumulative GPA. But at the same time, if there's a student who's in competition with you who's got better GPA, they might also look into that. And again, also for your, your bio 141, they're looking at a C or higher, and English is a C or higher, SCV is 101 or higher. But again, it's in your best interest to do well for you to get a chance to get into the program, because it is a competitive program.
And you also have to keep in mind that aside from that, the prereqs, you have to take what is called a TEAS test. If I am not in a mistake, correct me, Leilani, you have to score 50 or higher, if I remember correctly, in the TEAS test. But you want to score higher, again, because you're competing against other students. So it depends on different components.
There's another question in there. What % of applicants get into nursing, and which programs are the most competitive at the MEC? Which are least competitive, and what portion of students at the MEC are only 1 to 2 years out of high school? So there's just several questions within that question.
So I will tell you, I don't have that information. In fact, I went to the health professions open house and I talked to one faculty one-on-one, because I get a lot of these questions, especially for those parents and our students that are trying to get into the program ahead of time. And I didn't receive any specific numbers for that. And that was for each table, specifically for open house. I did remember that they had 24 diagnostic medical sonography students right now in the program, and there were 75 applicants. That's the closest information that I got. But I didn't have any statistics to share today.
So pretty much from my perspective, for like Leilani said, we do not have the exact numbers. For what I've seen so far, for example, nursing and dental hygiene, they will be considered the ones in high demand. Usually for nursing and dental hygiene, from what I have experienced, because I actually went into dental hygiene, I did not like it. Here I am. So pretty much dental hygiene, they had, when I first got in, 30 to 35 students. Every time they open their application, that's how many students they usually get into the program. And I believe nursing is kind of the same amount. I do remember that there was a dental hygiene student that was actually doing the program at Nova. And at the same time, she was going to George Mason to do the nursing bachelor's degree in nursing as well, with the admission of the George Mason advance. That's what I remember back then. The least competitive, I'm not quite sure. And what portion of students at MEC are only 1 to 2 years out of high school? You know, they were fairly young when I was there. I would say like half of them were probably 1 to 2 years out of high school. But something that's high school students have to keep in mind, during your first semester is pretty much your probation time. You're pretty much looking at how college works and all that good stuff. You might not be able to finish those prereqs during your first or second semester, because you have to keep in mind that you want to keep good grades in order to apply to that program and have a good chance to get into that program. So probably half of those students might be in Nova, like instead of 2 years, 3 years, 3.5, depending on the speed that they take their courses. Okay. Or is MEC mostly populated by adults older, traditional college age? So no, you will be surprised. MEC has everything, like high school, straight out of high school students, older adults. We have everything. I've seen it all. I had peers that were my age peers that were probably 19, and even older folks. We have everything at Nova. Did I miss one?
No, I think
I
there
have
is,
a, um,
I'm
So
sorry,
these
go
are-
ahead.
oh,
Yes.
so- oh. Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Wait, just circling back quickly to the TEAS exam. So basically, when do they have to sit the TEAS by to check if they're eligible for that diagnostic program? If my daughter's starting her first year this August.
So these
Um,
are really great questions, and I don't want us to go very specific because these are questions for during the information session.
Okay.
So there is the TEAS exam is one of the requirement for the program, but in terms of timing, you need to essentially talk to the general requirements and the information sessions that's available because they have very specific requirements. Like for example, minimum in reading, they're looking at 70%, English score 62%, math score 65%. They have a checklist, and I provided a link of the checklist of the program, and it kind of tells you a little bit about when you should be doing it, but in terms of like very specific time, it doesn't provide that information. So if you have specific question about it, I would refer you to our nursing program because Sandy and I helps with the general information, but not specific to the program. They have very specific requirements. We want to make sure that you get the right information.
Thank you so much.
yeah. But just in case, just keep in mind that you have to do all of this before the application opens, because it opens once each year, right? That's when it opens?
It opens twice. The
Twice,
first
okay.
one you can apply between March 1st to March 15th. And then the second cohort that will start in January. It will be September 1st to September 15th.
For nursing, but there's other programs that do open only once. So as long as you do all of this before then and you speak to the advisor, you will be on track.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much.
No problem.
There is another question in the chat. It says, can you discuss the dual enrollment that is offered with the high schools in Nova? I'm also going to type in a link in the chat simply because we had someone from Nova come and do a dual enrollment session that has been recorded. So you're more than welcome to access it. But whatever, guys, whatever you want to say about that, please do so.
Do you want to go ahead, Leilani?
Oh yeah,
You're
sure.
more savvy about
sorry
that.
about that. So we have several options. The first one we have is through the high school dual enrollment. Essentially what it is like you can take college courses while still in high school for those students who are what we consider college ready. To be considered college ready, you have at least to have a 3.0. With that, starting in your junior year, you can take classes depending on the school that you're attending. They have a list of classes based on the areas field that your school is focused on. So some of the schools, for example, are very focused in computer classes, but most of the schools should have at least your English 111 and your English 112 classes. So those are for your junior and your senior year. And then you can also have what we call Jumpstart. Essentially, these are for students who are already seniors. It's still under the umbrella of dual enrollment, but essentially the goal is for the student to start early in taking college courses during the summer of their graduation. So you take those classes basically tuition free through the summer. And again, for these dual enrollment classes, it's free of charge for the student. But for some specific programs under dual enrollment, you do have to pay the books but essentially the courses are free for the student. So another program is what we call early online college. Again, available for our high school and juniors, juniors and seniors. Essentially, these are classes available online. So remember, the dual enrollment classes are taught by professional that is in high school, physically in high school, so they can take those classes on campus. But then the early online college, these are classes that are taught online, independent study. Again, it's still free of charge, but it's another opportunity for those students who are college ready to take college courses while still in high school for Nova. And bear in mind that these classes are not just designed to transfer towards your Nova program. You may be able to bring credits if you want to go to another school. You can take those credits with you as well as lose credits. And then of course you have another opportunity for those STEM programs under summer program, again under the umbrella of dual enrollment. So we have plenty of opportunities. So if you're interested in any of those, what you want to do is just email dualenrollment@nvcc.edu. We do have specific contacts in high school, specific that are assigned to each high schools. So if you're interested, just drop your email, tell us a little bit what school you're from, and we'll connect you to the person who's overseeing dual enrollment in your school.
Other thing that I did is I dropped in the chat the PWCS high school course catalog link that will take you to the online catalog. If you choose the school that your child is attending or will attend, it'll tell you what dual enrollment classes are available through that school as well.
Okay, that sounds good.
There's another question. It says, I'm not eligible for financial aid. How do I apply for financial aid and when do I apply? What is the name? What is the name if I'm assuming the financial aid? I'm guessing maybe the FAFSA. That's what you're referring to.
Yeah, probably it might be the VASA. So depending, it could be that the student has a certain type of visa or they're undocumented, something. So pretty much if you are not eligible for financial aid, you will need to apply to VASA. The priority deadline was May 1st, but again, it's priority deadline. You might still have a chance. You will need to speak to a VASA advisor, one of our financial aids at the central offices. If you want to put in your information, I can go ahead and send you that info of the person that you need to speak to. There is a link for you to read. I can look that up as well. But it will be better if you can send me your information. If you don't want to do it publicly, you can just do it, send me the message in private, and I can send you that information.
All right, I think all the questions in the chat have been answered. Is there anyone else that has any questions for Ms. Liggett and Ms. Delgado? All right, I think we've answered all the questions. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Again, I will send the video recording for tonight's presentation as well as any resources that we have so that you can have them as a reference. We did drop the survey link for tonight's session in the chat. If you would just take a couple of minutes to fill that out so you can let us know how we're doing. And then any recommendations on any future programming. So thank you guys again so much for joining us, and I hope everyone has a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.